if we want to go to war, and if we should go to war, the Congress should declare it. We don't go to war like we did in Vietnam and Korea because the wars never end.
Why should we not be defending civil liberties? And why should we not be talking about foreign policy that used to be the part of the Republican Party? Mr. Republican Robert Taft didn't even want us to be in NATO. Let me see if I get this right. We need to borrow $10 billion from China, and then we give it to Musharraf, who's a military dictator who overthrew an elected government, and then we go to war, we lose all these lives promoting democracy in Iraq. I mean, what's going on here? But we support both sides, you know, not only with the Palestinians, but the Lebanese and all the Arab nations. We support Israel, and we try to have this balance. But I think it'd be much better to have a balance by being out of there, because I think we get in the way too often of these. And besides, it's costing us a lot of money. It's costing us lives now. And it's time that we come to the point where we believe the world can solve some of their problems without us. And also, we're out of money. We can't do it any longer. We're going bankrupt. And the empires of the world have always ended badly through economic terms. Why do we arm the Arab nations? And they're the enemies of Israel. We treat Israel as a stepchild. We do not give them the responsibility that they deserve. We undermine their national sovereignty. We don't let them design their own peace treaties with their neighbors. And then we turn around and say that when you want to do that, or you want to defend your borders, they have to check it out with us. I think Israel would be a lot safer. We give 3 times as much money to the Arabs. Why do we arm their enemies?
The people around this place in D.C. and in the Capitol and the executive branch and the judicial branch, they don't care that much about our Constitution, because if we followed the Constitution, we wouldn't have these spending programs and we wouldn't be causing all these problems. And yet, the more problems we create, the more government the people demand. For every problem we try to solve, then we create 2 new problems. It goes on, and the pyramid's up. And someday we're going to have to realize that we can't afford this much government any longer. Right. We got to depend on ourselves and on freedom and sound money, rather than thinking that Washington, D.C. can solve all our problems. We do need regulations in all markets. The market itself regulates itself by supply and demand, and bad businesses going out of businesses and consumers benefiting when a business does a good deal. But the regulation has to be on government. The regulation has to be on the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has so much power, and it's very secretive, and now we're planning on giving it even more. What we need is a oversight of the Federal Reserve. We have no oversight of monetary policy. They can create all the money they want.
The law says that illegals should be here and that we shouldn't have amnesty. But I think this whole thing should be thought of more in economic terms. There is something said in economics that if you subsidize something, you get more of it. And this is what we do. We encourage it by giving free medical care and free education and the promise of amnesty. And no wonder more will come. We have a weakened economy, and now immigrants, especially the illegals, are seen as a threat because they come and they undermine our tax system, and some of our hospitals are being closed, and some of our people won't work because of the welfare state. You can't solve this problem if you don't deal with the terms of welfareism.
We can't cut anything until we change our philosophy about what government should do. If you think we can continue to police the world and spend hundreds of billions of dollars overseas and spend hundreds of billions of dollars running a welfare state, an entitlement system that has accumulated $60 trillion worth of obligations, and think that we can run the economy this way, we spend so much money now that we have to borrow nearly $3 billion a day from foreigners to take care of our consumption. And we can't afford that. We can't afford it in the government. We can't afford it as a nation.